Hey guys, it's Vicky from Valkyrie Tarot coming at you again. This is the third video, maybe it's the fourth, depends on what order I put them in. But we're gonna continue this twin flame discussion that we were talking about. This video is gonna be talking about the difference between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I'm also very aware that this is not the best angle to take a video at, but you're all just gonna have to deal with my double chin, because oh well, I'm in my bedroom and I'm comfy. So you guys can just deal with it. All right. So if you remember back to the stages of the twin flame that we were talking about, when we got to the turmoil stage, I started to mention divine masculine and divine feminine. All right. In classic ideals, Eastern type of traditions, this is also known as the yin to the yang. So you know the circle that's got one part that's black and one part that's white, and then the dots are the opposite colors. That's what we're talking about. It's the balancing of the male and the female energy. Now, let me preface all of this with the fact that we are all both male and female energy. It's inside of each one of us. We are all within ourselves, our own solid being. What happens is, though, when we find our twin flame, that solidness that we were opens and expands to be able to bond with the oneness of our other twin flame. So the yin in myself matches with the yin in my twin flame, and the yang in my twin flame matches with the yang in me. Okay? We're going to start first of all with the divine masculine, because the divine masculine has been talked about a lot on YouTube channels. A lot of tarot readers are really diving into just the divine masculine messages versus the divine feminine messages, mostly because the divine feminine, we're usually the ones that are a little bit more open about how we feel, and we're usually the tarot readers, to be honest. But getting to the point. So just because you are the divine masculine or the divine feminine does not mean that you are male or female. These roles can reverse, and it can happen in same-sex relationships too, as in my case. So the divine masculine, in general, this is a person who shows ample amounts of confidence in themselves. They have this air of confidence that they have when they just walk into a room, and it's addictive. I don't know how to explain it. They're not arrogant. They're just confident. There's just a way about them that people pay attention to. They're strong. They either physically strong or emotionally strong or structurally strong. There's something about them that you see as a strength, and you almost admire it in them because you know that you're safe when you're near them. There's a safety around them in their arms that you've never known before. The divine masculine is also extremely logical and rational. They're not people to give in to their emotions. In fact, emotions are not exactly their friends. They all have emotions. They understand that. They understand other people have emotions, but other people's emotions are not their emotions. And other people should keep their emotions in the other people and not bother them with their emotions. Remember that. Divine masculines are also extremely loyal, extremely trustworthy, and have this sense of integrity about them and in everything that they do. It's really amazing. And if you are the divine masculine, you know what I'm talking about. You're almost proud of who you are. Your ego, remember that too, is very much a part of who you are, and it's very hard for you to separate yourself from that. Now, the hard parts about being a divine masculine. Historically speaking, on an energy level, a lot of divine masculines kind of sign up for really crappy things happening to them in their lives. Usually a lot of physical trauma, something that they've witnessed or something that's actually happened to them. The divine masculine signs up for this knowing that they are strong enough to handle it. we see historically, a lot of men go to war, and they've seen atrocities at war. I think that's the word. We hear about people being addicted to certain drugs, being in a really bad accidents and coming through it and being a stronger person after it, dealing with PTSD from bad relationships, being abused in your past, being in a bad upbringing, a bad house, having to work through a really difficult family dynamic. This is usually things that the divine masculine signs up for before they come into this skin suit. Now, again, remember, we have a divine masculine and a divine feminine in every body. It's just that when the twin flames meet, one represents more of the masculine, one represents more of the feminine, and they mirror each other. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Because of these things that the divine masculine goes through, they have a tendency also to not be able to express how they feel, and not being able to express how they feel makes them almost avoidant and distant when it comes to dealing with the emotions of the divine feminine. And when we're talking about the runner-chaser dynamic, divine masculine is almost always the runner. Okay? Flipping over to the other side, the divine feminine, which I'm a lot more familiar with because I am the divine feminine in our connection, which is funny because anyone that knew the two of us, I'm the more masculine looking, I'm the tomboy. My twin flame is not very feminine, but strong, like strong feminine. God, I'm gonna try not to get into it. That'll be another video of some sort, but she was definitely someone that caught your eye, no matter where you were. Just had something about her. She was the Queen of Wands, the red carpet queen, at least to me. Anyways, divine feminine. Divine feminine, where the divine masculine is confident and strong and able to take care of people and make sure people feel safe around them. The divine feminine is loving and nurturing and compassionate. They're motherly. They want to help and take care of people. They're putting themselves out there. They're understanding. They're empaths most of the time. They're intuitive. They're emotional instead of logical. They feel first, explain later. Whereas the divine masculine is loyal and trustworthy. I'm not saying that the divine feminine isn't, but instead the divine feminine is more encouraging and kind and patient and helpful. These are usually the people that want to be fixers in a relationship, or they're the people that people are just drawn to naturally. The divine feminine, whereas the divine masculine usually has a lot of past life trauma, the divine feminine usually has a lot of current life emotional trauma. Whereas the divine masculine usually deals with situations that were more physical and PTSD and things that just are really difficult for a lot of people in society to deal with because it just seems like a really hard life. The divine feminine, by all accounts, had a normal life, normal upbringing, loving parents, good family, good schooling. They usually are the people that didn't really have a lot of outwardly problems. But that in itself represents the fact that they may not have had problems visually to people, but they had a lot of emotional trauma growing up. Speaking as myself, I never felt like I fit in anywhere. I'm the youngest of 3 girls. I'm the son my father never had. I grew up in a very Catholic household. So for me to be LGBT was hard for me to come to terms with. I grew up Roman Catholic. My uncle's a priest. Finding my identity outside of Catholicism was difficult for me. And it definitely has left scars on me. I didn't come out until way later in life. I wish I had come out earlier, but I wasn't ready. I was not secure enough in who I was. I wasn't confident in my skin, like the divine masculine is. But meanwhile, I also dealt with the emotions of other people. I dealt with people who couldn't control their emotions, who were a little narcissistic, or a lot narcissistic. I had relationships with people that were emotionally abusive to me, and I let them do it because I was trying to be understanding, and I was an empath, and I was trying to help them. I was trying to fix them, but I didn't realize what they were doing to me, the gaslighting and the emotional warfare that was going on in my head from this person that didn't understand their own emotions. So they were trying to control me because they knew they could. That left scars on me. Scars that you can't see. Scars that you don't talk about. We don't talk about this stuff. The divine feminine usually is very, very anxious. Lots of times they're more depressed. They're more dark and stormy, whereas the divine masculine is, hey, let's go do something. Let's be happy. Let's go hiking. Let's go chop some wood. I don't know, something like that. Whereas the divine feminine's like, I mean, it's raining out. Can't we just sit inside and cuddle by a fire? I don't know. In the runner-chaser dynamic, the feminine is usually the chaser. They're usually the more anxious one. If we go back to the yin and yang, the divine feminine is the black color. It is the softness. It is the relaxation. It is the nighttime, whereas the divine masculine is the sun, and he is the fire, and he is the energy, and he's the solid foundation and the white. You cannot have darkness without light. You cannot have softness without hard. You cannot have anxious without avoidant. You cannot have male without female. Everything is balance when it comes to the twin flame relationship. Absolutely everything. And at times, one can overtake the other. Think of, I don't know what they're called. It's like a wave. They used to do it and they'd rock back and forth. You know what I'm talking about? It had like glittery water in it. If you like shiny things, you know what I'm talking about. And it would rock back and forth. And at times, it would be more full on this side and less full on this side. But the whole container was all taken up. It wasn't like the half full, half empty type of thing. The whole container was full of something. But at one point or another, one side seemed more full of a certain energy or sand than the other. And that's how this twin flame dynamic is. Sometimes in the turmoil stage, the divine feminine overflows with these emotions because she doesn't know how to control them. They're just so much inside of her. And I know I talked about this before, but it's an emotion that they've never felt before. Do you remember feeling angry for the first time in your life? Do you remember feeling sad for the first time in your life? Do you remember feeling love for the first time in your life? Probably not, because you were an infant. You worked through all of these emotions when you were young. And now you're feeling this new emotion, and it's so bold, and it's so heavy, and it's so bright, and it's so beautiful, and it's so scary. And you don't know how to express it. So the female expresses all of it. Because we just want to feel it. And we want our lover to feel it too. And the divine masculine goes, oh, God, it's too much. They're going crazy. It's too much. It's too much. You're too much. I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm getting smothered. I can't do this. Deuces. I'm leaving. And the divine masculine becomes avoidant because of everything that they've dealt with in their life. They've just learned to shut off. It's just easier to shut off because if you're shut off, you don't have to deal with everything all at once, and you can just focus on other things besides how you feel. You can just focus on work, or you can focus on your friends, or you can just focus on your family, or something else besides this relationship, because the relationship is too much and they can't make time or room for it right now, because if they do, it's going to completely overtake them, just like it's overtaking the divine feminine, and they can't fall apart. So they run. And they let the divine feminine figure it out on her own, which is agony, but it's a necessity at the same time. Because the divine feminine doesn't know how to self-soothe. They need to learn how to contain this emotion within themselves. Because if they can't contain it within themselves, this dynamic will never work. Because the divine masculine depends on the divine feminine to be the balance of their emotion, just as the divine feminine depends on the divine masculine to be the balance of their logic. And it's only until both sides have worked through their past traumas and learned how to express what is going on inside of them in a healthy way can these two groups come back together and make a flame, reuniting, and move forward with the path that they are supposed to have in this world. So that is my tidbit about divine masculine and divine feminine. I hope you guys liked this. If you did, please give me a shout out down below. Give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Please don't give me a thumbs down. That makes me sad. If you have questions, if you have other topics you want me to talk about, comment down below. I'm more than happy to do this, obviously. All right. Have a good one. Till next time. Deuces.